In today's model kit review, I will be taking a look at the high-grade Gundam 00 Seravee Gundam. Now, I debated in my mind before purchasing this particular kit whether to get this scale, the 1 to 144 scale, or the larger 1 to 100. I would love to get the 1 to 100, but I just it was just a little bit too much money at this time. I had other things I wanted to spend that money on, so ended up going with the 1 to 144 high grade. Now, there is another reason I went with the high grade, is because I actually wanted to have this Seravee model kit displayed next to the high grade Raphael Gundam. So there was another reason for that as well. So here's a look at the Seravee. Now, the reason I like the Seravee mobile suit so much is because I also like the Tier and Ground type and the Serpent custom from Gundam Wing. You know, it's a heavily armored mobile suit, and I like that look, and I think a lot of other people do as well. And here is a look at the backpack system, which is actually, of course, the Seraphim, which I will go into explain briefly for those of you who are not aware of what the Seraphim is, if you're not really into Gundam but you're watching this review, for example. Now, you can see I displayed the GN cannons / Seraphim's arms like this. I'm sure I'm not the first one to do that, but I think it kind of looks cool because it's kind of like they're in the GN cannons are like in the undeployed mode, and of course you can rotate these up here for the iconic look for the GN cannons coming out. So as far as the articulation portion of this review, what I'll do is I'll take the Seraphim backpack off here and review it separately as far as articulation goes from the actual Seravee Gundam. And you can see the peg mechanism. There's a peg here and kind of a block. It corresponds to this indentation right there. Alright, so I guess we'll start with the Seraphim. As you can see, it articulates around like this, like I kind of showed you before. Pretty wide range of motion. You got these, I think they're supposed to be like side skirts, but they're on a polycap there. And the legs, obviously they don't transform, but the legs here move. They're on a ball joint like you'd expect a typical leg to be. It does have the face burst mode, so that you pull down like that, revealing the eyes. That's not the best light there, but you can see like that. You can barely see the eyes. If you pull it down like that, you can see the eyes. And of course you're supposed to bring up the fins here, and they're individually articulated on their own ball joint. So when you're in burst mode, you can have them displayed like this. Now obviously this does not transform because everything is molded together as far as the legs go. So in case you're wondering, if you're not familiar with Gundam 00, this does transform into a separate mobile suit. Now they do have the separate transforming 1 to 144 scale Seraphim that you can plug into the back of the Seravee model kit, and it does come with an extra head that would peg in up here. Of course the legs would transform and so forth. I'm not really interested in that. You know, even though it's roughly about $10 to $15 more to get that, I'm just not that crazy about it. I mean, it's a nice feature if you like that, the Seraphim, but I'm never one to really be too crazy about this. In fact, if I do have the 1 to 100 scale Virtue, and of course you all know that the Virtue model kit can be transformed back into the Nadle. I have never displayed my Virtue in Nadle mode, if you want to say that. I just don't care for it. It's perfectly fine if you like it, but I just personally don't. So I guess what I'm saying is I don't really mind that this does not transform. It doesn't really bother me. But anyways, you get the idea of the articulation and the features you get for this particular kit. So we'll put this guy off to the side here. As for the Seravee Gundam model kit itself, of course, as you expect, the head is on a ball joint and has free range of motion there. Shoulders 360, especially without the backpack on. The side armor here does articulate separately. You've got some yellow plastic there. I think those might be thrusters, but you got some detailing there. Arms can articulate separately from the shoulder armor. Bend at the elbow like that, which is quite impressive actually if you look at that. And then you've got separate wrist articulation And look at that. You can pretty much touch his shoulder, which, you know, is one of the characteristics of a master grade type of articulation. So that is very cool. Now, I was watching Prime 92's review of the 1 to 100 scale, and I don't think it could do that. So only in the high grade do I think it can actually, you know, look like it's almost touching its shoulder. You can just see it's, technically I don't think it is. Well, actually it kind of is at one small point, but you know, that's really good articulation. I like that. So moving on, the ab section, you actually do get waist articulation, but there's actually, when you build it, you can see there is a groove there, which is a separate piece from the actual lower torso, which, as you can see here, you can see the gap there allows you to articulate like this. So, which is really nice. So, right off the bat, I love the elbows and wrist articulation, and I love the fact that it has articulation at the ab like it does. Of course, you saw there it rotates at the waist. The side armor here does articulate. It's just pegged into the side of the torso. Legs themselves, there's not a lot of skirting to get in the way, really. So legs can kind of go up like that, back like that. Of course, the legs themselves are on a ball joint. You can see there is a bend at the knee area there. And of course, you got ankle articulation. And that's really it for articulation. Now, for the actual weapons you get, or the accessories, well, first off, these things here flip up. These are the GN cannons, 2 of the 4 that you get. You can see they come out like that. I mean, they kind of come out a little bit, if you can see there, so that they're not quite flush with the leg if you want to extend them like all the way out like that. But basically, those are the GN cannons. So with the backpack system on, you also have these 2 additional GN cannons. Now, going back to the Seraphim and how I was talking about this transforms, or it can transform if you get the right kit. Well, these are kind of what become the arms in the transform mode. So, but anyways, you got the 4 GN cannons, which is really cool. And what you get is you get a green metallic sticker, as well as a clear plastic piece to cover that. So it really looks good, and you really don't have to do any detailing, in my opinion. I mean, looks really nice. Aha! Now onto the weapons, the GN bazookas. As you can see, they operate separately. There is a handle that does pull out, so you can display your Seravee model kit with all 4 GN cannons at the ready, as well as the dual GN bazookas. And I don't know if they call GN bazooka 2s in this mode, but they are separate weapons at this point. And this is how I'm going to be displaying my Seravee Gundam. I like this the best. I mean, it just looks like the kind of like a porcupine of death. There's just like, the only thing that could be more better is if it had things stick in the back that are extending from the back. You know, 2 more GN cannons shooting from the back here and from the hips as well. But this is how I'm going to be displaying my 1 to 144 Seravee Gundam. And to show you the combined mode, and I guess they call it the GN Bazooka 2 at that point. I'm sure somebody will correct me if I'm wrong, but you can combine these, and they just peg together. They lock in very securely, and you would just bring out one of the handles here, open these up a little bit, and mount the GN Bazooka 2 like so. And that looks pretty badass. That's really nice. But wait, there's more. You can actually attach the bazookas to the GN cannons on the shoulders for an even greater effect, as you can see here. They hold pretty well, and you can see they actually include some handles. I'll show you a close up there. the handles do plug into the GN bazookas on the side there, as you can see. So you can actually have the Seravee model kit hold the extended GN cannons pretty well. Now what you could also do, it's not really official nor is it part of the model kit, but you can do it to a certain degree, is because the attachment is similar here as it is down here, you can actually attach the bazooka to the cannons that are on the leg areas here. Show you real quick here. As you can see, it does cause some weight issues. You tend to move this down a little bit, it'll eventually fall down. And like I said, it's not an official mode or anything like that, but you do have that, you know, physical capability to do that if you wanted to. Okay, so you're going to want to pay attention to my final thoughts, because I'm actually going to make a recommendation for you. If you're interested in getting the high-grade Seravee Gundam, I would strongly suggest that you look into getting the Seravee Gundam GNHW/B, which is basically the Seravee Gundam heavy weapons version of the model kit. Now, what this heavy weapons version of the model kit comes with, it comes with additional armaments. So, like for example, here we have, you know, just 4 beam cannons. You actually get some waist cannons with the heavy weapons version of this model kit. You also get, I think what they're called is GN particle emitters that are mounted on the leg, lower leg here, and also on the shoulder. And you also get some additional thrusters. So you definitely want to look at that. And the thing is, what you can do is you can transform the heavy weapons of Seravee back into the normal Seravee, the one that I have here. So if you don't, for whatever reason, if you don't like the heavy weapons version, you still have the option of transforming it back to the regular Seravee Gundam. Personally, as far as looks go with the heavy weapons Seravee Gundam, I can pass on it. I like the fact that it does come with extra waist cannons, but the heavy weapons Seravee Gundam reminds me a lot of the Virtue, which is not necessarily a bad thing, because I do like the Virtue as well. I just don't want something that looks like, this is supposed to be like a Season 2 mobile suit. I want something that looks different than the Virtue from the first season. So that's just my personal opinion. However, included in the Seravee Gundam heavy weapons kit, you also get, I think you get some beams and beam handles, but I also think you also get the beam rifles for the fully transformable 1-144 Seraphim. So if you were interested in going that route and getting the transforming Seraphim, then you have some beam rifles that are included with that heavy weapons Seravee Gundam model kit. So, and there is not a whole lot of difference in price. Like there's maybe $5 or $6 difference, if that. Yen-wise, it was only a difference of about 300 yen. So you figure maybe $5 here in the U.S. Not a whole lot. I definitely recommend you go with the Seravee Gundam HW or GNHW/B, or I just call it the Seravee Gundam Heavy Weapons Model Kit. So that's just my advice to you. Again, I like the articulation. It's got crazy articulation for a high grade, in my opinion. You know, it's really nice looking. Has a great shelf presence. I recommend you get it. You know, if you like the Seravee, if you like the Virtue, if you like Gundams or mobile suits, doesn't have to be Gundam, I guess, but if you like your mobile suits that are big, heavily armed, and heavily armored, then this is the model kit for you. Alright, well thanks for watching. This has been my review of the 1-144 scale high grade Seravee Gundam from Gundam 00.